there's a number of, let's just say, recurring themes with people that like to virtue signal on the internet. In this video, we'll be talking about a specific recurring theme, though, that being hypocrisy. And so we have a new situation that has occurred in the gaming space, but before we talk about that, you remember back a month ago or so with the Deadpool Creator Cup Kingsman situation, where Cece began deleting a bunch of tweets talking about how much she hates men? This was interesting for a few reasons. One, she was getting a lot of justified criticism for her poor job as team leader and her role in getting Kingsman kicked from the tournament. And then afterwards, her and other women on the team attempted to play victim, namely Zaza attempted to play victim and accuse people of criticizing them of being like sexist and misogynistic. Obviously, that's ridiculous. Criticizing what they did to Kingsman, criticizing how they handled that whole situation was, once again, obviously not sexist or misogynistic at all. That's just a really desperate attempt at deflection and taking no accountability. And so then, as mentioned, we even saw CCFPS deleting tweets where she had previously talked about her great hate for men. She really hates men. Now, it doesn't seem like she suddenly changed her opinion on this. It seems like it was an attempt at scrubbing those tweets off the internet because it made her look bad. You could easily argue that those tweets make her look even more malicious in the way she handled all that Kingsman stuff. This was especially funny because at that point in time, she claimed to be taking time off from the internet, but here she was still on the internet and trying to scrub her Twitter account. Anyways, this current situation made me reflect on that because there's some similarities, and that whole situation with the Deadpool Creator Cup tournament was crazy and still fairly recent. But moving on from that onto the current topic. So in today's news, we have this tweet from a League of Legends streamer named Charlene getting 1 million views on Twitter.com, becoming a, as mentioned, point of contention here, as she's previously talked about how much she hates men and how she thinks that the male loneliness epidemic is well deserved. But now she wants to virtue signal online about how men should become the internet police on her behalf or something, apparently. So let's take a look at this tweet. And the context begins with League of Legends leaks and news saying team voice chat is officially coming to League of Legends. To which Charlene responds and says this: "Okay, on a serious note, men, please read. It's your responsibility to step up if you see a woman getting victim of misogyny in game. Please don't be passive when you will see us getting attacked for no reasons. We don't want to have to punish ourselves out of the voice chat." So Charlene wants to talk about how much she hates men and loves money, and that the male loneliness epidemic that she calls pandemic, by the way, kind of funny, that's well deserved. But now she wants to say that the same men that she's openly hating on, that they have a duty. She says it's your responsibility to become the internet police on her behalf, essentially, to become her personal police force for her. However, as people began to criticize her and point out her hypocrisy, she did add this, saying, "I said I hate men in 2022, 4 years ago, and now I can't be asking for people to stand up against misogyny. People change, thankfully, and I just wish everyone could enjoy the game to the fullest. If it offended you, I am sincerely sorry. It wasn't the purpose, and I know I should be thankful for all the nice guys that are supporting me out here." However, people would point out that she really hasn't changed at all. For example, the tweet where she's talking about the male loneliness epidemic being well-deserved, that was a few weeks ago on January 20th, 2026. So she didn't outright say that she hates men in that tweet, but she's acting like she's completely changed over the years, and clearly that's not the case. Charlene would then take a note right out of the no accountability playbook. This person, Sweet Legendary, says to her, "Guys, please, I'm just a girl, give me money and defend me," showing where she once again said that she hates men and loves money. Then Charlene says, "2022 tweet, thankfully I changed." So other person says, "Doesn't look like it," and posts a quote tweet where Charlene says, "I wonder why," responding to someone else who had seemingly linked to the tweet where she talks about how much she hates men. And I say seemingly because guess what? She's since deleted that tweet. Sound familiar? And Charlene says, "Get a grip, I swear, I'm getting literal death threats, death treats, but all good since I offended you in 2022. The other person says, "The quote tweet is from 2026, which heavily implies you didn't change at all. So where are you getting the 2022 number from?" So once again, I'm going to reference the Deadpool Creator Cup situation because now we're seeing like two exact things that occurred there. The deleting of I hate men tweets that CCFPS did, and now the attempting to play victim in the exact same way that Ashlyn FPS had done The similarities are crazy with how these people act. Because you might remember this tweet, excuse me, if you followed that situation, where Ashlyn FPS said, "Cece is bad, Kingsman is good. Would you kind souls please stop sending me death threats?" Got community noted that says poster actually sided with Cece and told her to use the situation as quote-unquote free ad revenue. And so the full but quick context of this is everyone was essentially siding with Kingsman when they saw how Cece FPS, Zazastack, Luciasa treated him and got Bassam to kick him from the tournament. And so everyone was siding with Kingsman, and Ashlyn came out with this statement that was trying to act like everyone was in the wrong, including Kingsman, which was very manipulative. Again, that wasn't the case. Kingsman was not in the wrong. Those women on his team that did that stuff to him were clearly in the wrong, not him. And so Ashlyn was trying to misrepresent the situation and act like everyone's in the wrong, guys, just move on. Very disingenuous. And then behind the scenes, it came out that in a private Discord server, presumably the Rivals Creator Discord, Ashlyn was very clearly siding with Cece, trying to give Cece advice and taking a stand against Kingsman. And then when people pointed out that Ashlyn was lying, essentially, suddenly that gets posted. "Oh, I'm just getting death threats. Would you guys stop? Kingsman good, CC bad." You know, very sarcastic and trying to play victim, trying to deflect from all of the criticism and people pointing out, again, the lies, right? Suddenly very convenient. "Oh, I'm going to ignore all that and just mention that I'm getting death threats." And like I said before when I covered this, it's something most people will receive, unfortunately. Like, we all get death threats. I've had dozens over the years. Dozens. I've had threats where people threaten to R-word me and death threat me in one. That's like a 2-for-1 deal right there. What, am I a super victim now? Am I like a plus ultra victim because I've had that too? Like, no, like whatever, you know? Whatever. Conversely, there's been situations where people get caught lying about that stuff. I've literally seen people getting caught sending themselves death threats on a burner account. Other times people just make this stuff up. "I'm getting these threats," and they really didn't. Because again, they want to deflect. Now, whether they're making them up or spoofing them or are actually getting them, again, none of this is an excuse to use such things to deflect from valid criticism. And if someone does act like that, it's just a bad look for them. It looks like they're deflecting. So yeah, that stuff is unfortunate. Again, I'm obviously not saying those threats are good. I said it's an unfortunate part of the internet, but it is what it is. You all get my point. Moving on. On the other tweet where Charlene acted like she changed so much since 2022, which clearly wasn't the case, she also got this response that sarcastically says, "I hate men and that's why I asked them to change." Charlene then making this response we haven't taken a look at yet, where she says, "I don't want to hate them, but it makes me sad to see how normal is misogyny. 950 plus comments on my tweet. It's terrifying." And most of the people who are responding are simply pointing out her hypocrisy. That's not all misogyny. Like, it's ridiculous how these people want to call criticism misogyny. Over and over again, this happens. Like, people are quite literally just showing what Charlene said. They're like, "Hey, is this you?" And her response is, "Oh, you're a misogynist." Like, are you kidding me? You really don't have a better response. It's just, oh, throw a buzzword out there and hope for the best. Yeah, okay, good luck. She wasn't done there, though. She went on to say, "We really need to be able to rely on you. Being passive and not stepping up is being part of the problem. I don't want to cry on stream every day." The comments. "Cancel voice chat already. Please, League of Legends. I asked you guys to stand up against misogyny. I did not insult your mom, by the way." And she said all of this. Why I said men need to stand up for women? Basically, if we leave the voice chat, it will not fix the problem and encourage men to continue being misogynistic. It then makes the environment even more hostile for them. When women speak up about what they experience, they don't easily get listened to. They are part of an oppressed group. Other men tend to listen to other men because they are part of the same social group. She actually thinks men just like listen to other men unquestionably or something. Like, this is insanely out of touch stuff. Oh my gosh. If men speak up against misogyny, it escalate misogyny. The misogynistic guy, after getting told to stop by men, maybe in different lobbies, might stop. It might not feel this bad, but not stepping up in it might make it escalated to way worse behavior, assault and worse. Misogyny hurts men too. It tends to invalidate your experiences and how you feel. Yeah, okay, nice gaslighting there at the end. She wants to now act like she cares about men after she's talked so much about how much she hates men and doesn't care about men being lonely and all this stuff, right? But now she suddenly cares about men. Yeah, Definitely not just gaslighting there. Another comment would say, quote, misogyny hurts men too, unquote. Bro, what? If that's so, the misandry on social media is invalidating your experiences as well. She says, I don't know what you aren't understanding. I would recommend you to search about how misogyny hurts men too. Yeah, and you know what you'll find if you search that up? Some very biased write-up from a feminist or feminist organization that's trying to justify their very skewed worldview, blaming all of their problems on the patriarchy with no room for self-improvement, while simultaneously saying that misandry isn't a real thing. And by the way, it's funny how those same feminists have minimal or no criticism for actual countries that oppress women, such as we see occurring frequently in the Middle East. But yeah, let's just ignore the real oppression and complain about people being mean in voice chats in a video game. But we're really serious about this serious issue, by the way. Seriously. That is the latest, though. Let me know what you think about this situation. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the coverage, and I'll see you in the next one.